It was a crack epidemic. It was a cocaine epidemic. That flowed into the meth. Next thing you know, it's the heroin. Then it's the opiates. Now it's fentanyl.
It can happen to anybody. And that's what we are seeing more. People just not understanding that it's an issue.
I thought at any time I can just quit taking the medicine, you know. I had no idea that the pain medicine was getting me addicted.
I tell people it makes decent people mean people. What I mean by that is, you know, their focus changes. They have to have that drug. Through the third quarter of last year, we had 4 individuals to OD here in Sampson County. We had actually 22 that went to the local emergency room last year.
You have to understand, in this area, most people are farmers, truck drivers. They're hardworking people, painters. They have an accident. The doctor prescribes oxycodone or Percocets, and the next thing you know, they're addicted to them.
Since 2005, state officials report commonly prescribed opioid medications have been Sampson County's #1 cause of fatal drug overdoses.
Probably in 07, 08, we started focusing on the prescription drugs. And from the prescription drug perspective, it elevated up to the heroin.
This is Gregory Johnson. He says he became opioid dependent following a serious car accident over a decade ago.
You go to the doctor and they say, you know, well, you've been on it long enough, let's wean you off. Well, I need more, and you're gonna go to the streets and find it. The neighbor could be on a prescription that he doesn't take all of it, and he could be on a fixed income, and he would love to sell you half of his prescription to supplement his income.
And you trust the pills?
Oh, absolutely. They come out of a bottle with their name on them. It could be back surgery or something like that, and now they're chronic pain victims. And the doctor's prescribing them 2-3 times what they need. Well, they're on, obviously a chronic pain victim is gonna be on a fixed income. Well, when you can sell an 80 milligram pill for $80 and they got 2 extra a day, that's $160 a day times 30.
Even when you first meet people that maybe aren't to the point yet where they're saying, I think I have a problem, they don't even realize it half the time because they're saying, no, I'm hurt. I need more of this medication. And truth is, if you get into the science of it, they actually are experiencing pain.
How did you find out that pills were a problem?
Through trying to quit, feeling like a slave to it, having to go to work and not have it. You know, say you run out, or they run out, and then you got to get up and go to work, and you don't have it for a day or two, and you can't get up and go to work. And you realize...
So are you tired? Are you...
Oh, lethargic, tired, just feel physically sick, and your pain is amplified by 100 because you've been dulling your pain with pain medicine. So a little body ache, that would be nothing to you. You know, you'd have, like, your back is aching today. You just stretch and go on with your day. To me, it's crippling. To me, a little backache felt like I couldn't get out of bed.
When they're saying they're in pain, they're legitimately in pain, and they're seeking what can alleviate that pain. And before you know it, they're in addiction.
But if I'm in pain, I'm not addicted. I can't be addicted. I need the medicine to be treated, you say.
And that's who I then have to say, you have a problem. To someone that doesn't think it, I'm not addicted, I'm not a drug addict, this is not who I am. I have a family, I've been raised right, I'm from this area, and then how do I get here? And then I've had one person even cry and say, well, why would my doctor give this to me if this could happen? People don't know that. Even the prescriber, when giving it, doesn't know if this 1 week is going to do it or if I write this 30 days, this going to be the tipping point for the person.
Local law enforcement leaders fully agree that arresting drug dealers remains a top priority. Handling illegal drug users, people who became addicted after first using legal drugs, sparks a different conversation.
It is a challenge, making sure that we're providing the right help for the individuals and recognizing that it is a person that we're dealing with, and everybody has to be treated with that respect and dignity, no matter what drug they may be using.
Donald Edwards is Clinton, North Carolina's police chief.
We have to have the community approach because any issues with drugs impacts the whole family. It's not just that individual user.
Chief Edwards says Clinton police addressed the local opioid epidemic on 2 fronts.
One is offering to being a link to resources in the community and the law enforcement identifying the impact that it has on the family, as well as the having to go after the dealers for trafficking drugs and things like that.
Clinton Police partners with mental health crisis organization Mobile Crisis. Crisis counselors can meet clients discreetly at the police department with no questions asked.
This has been absolutely phenomenal. It is very comforting in knowing that we have a safe place to go. And not only that, we have found that the community has been very responsive in taking us up on that offer.
Mobile Crisis covers 7 eastern North Carolina counties. It does not offer medical or emergency services, but its counselors do know the system and how to get people in mental health or addiction distress the help they need.
We're a small community, and when you see somebody that works in that profession coming to your house, you're seeing the police at your house and things like that, then you may be more hesitant to call. So if you have that neutral ground where you can come over here, drive yourself over here, however you get over here, as long as you get to the help you need.
Mobile crisis counselors drive unmarked vehicles and wear plain clothes. They often assist people within 2 hours of a crisis call, which increasingly includes calls for help against opioids.
So they'll tell me that they are having withdrawals, or they'll describe those symptoms to me, saying that I feel sick, I feel nauseous, I've used some heroin today. If I don't, I'm going to kill myself. And so they're looking to get treatment right then.
Every officer here carries the cards for mobile crisis. So if a family or an individual reaches out, they're going to be given that information.
We've actually had people that have come in seeking detox, and they have actually referred and called in with their friends after they have engaged in treatment and have gotten out.
Sampson County Sheriff Jimmy Thornton says the biggest challenge is gauging a drug abuser's sincerity to get clean.
They abuse these facilities. They abuse it from the standpoint that they're telling their loved ones, you know, they want to go get help. Okay, well, that's music to the family members' ears, because they think, yes, at this point, you know, maybe we can accomplish something. But unfortunately, it's short-lived.
Sheriff Jimmy Thornton believes incarceration is an important tool to both fight drug trafficking and convince some drug users they've hit rock bottom.
That's their only hope. That's our only hope from the law enforcement track, to try to change, okay, the way they're doing business, the way their behavior is. And the only way, some will probably not agree with me, but the only way or only hope for that light to go off is once they're behind bars.
I look at it like this: we're going to spend $25,000 to $30,000 to keep an individual locked up in a jail. Why can't we spend anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000 trying to save that individual before we go to that drastic step?
Locking them up is not the only answer. There has to be another avenue for the people who are using. Yes, we are going to lock up those who are dealing the drugs, but what about the person that's out there? We don't know all their circumstances. Why are they out there? And the only way to do that is put them in touch with the right resource.
If you could just have one family that's impacted and they be willing to tell you what they have expended or have lost, okay, in the process, sending in their loved ones to treatment, theft, bank accounts being gotten into, credit cards being abused, it would be mind-boggling.
I was born in June of 1964, 6/4/64. Boy, that's a cool day, isn't it? I love sports, love baseball and golf, football and basketball, and did good in high school.
In high school, he started drinking some, and then later on found out that he was involved in some drugs. That just really broke our heart.
Just because the world says that you're an alcoholic addict and that you'll never change, to me that's a lie from the pit of hell. Because God don't make no junk. He can deliver you and He can set you free. Open Door Ministry is a 30-day program to help men that struggle with addiction. Verse 10 says, the name of the Lord is a strong tower. One of the first things the guys do when they come into Open Door is they write 100 times, I blank am here to change my life. You know, and I, Jim, am here to change my life. And that's the starting point.
For he who is in Christ is a new creation. All that is in the past is old, and here I am, I'm a new creation. So
this is my opportunity to reach people that struggle with the same addictions that I had and really make a change in their life. So we don't have to be stuck in that past. We don't have to be stuck and labeled as an addict.
And I'm just very thankful to be here.
Good deal. Jacob, anything stick out here today for class you want to talk about?
Yeah, where I'm at is addiction's been such a big part of my life for so long that I had pretty much accepted it. And it's been since I was about 15, so pretty much my whole adult life. Now without that, I'm kind of relearning who I really am without that.
How many days you been here roughly?
This is going on my 3rd week, so I'd say about 15, 16 days.
Okay, all right. What's the biggest thing that's happened? If you had a breakthrough, or what's something that's...
Just looking at things through a sober mind and seeing how happy my family is that I'm here.
Right.
And they're being and them being excited about meeting their son sober for the first time.
Right.
And my wife meeting her husband sober for the first time.
We got 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, just whatever, whatever you feel like you need to do or whatever we feel like you need to do, we'll talk to you about that. But
do they want help, or are they trying to stay out of jail? There's a difference in wanting to clean up your life. And
well, that's where we come into play. That's where Pastor and myself and Sean always come into play. Our goal is we'll give them a place to come here, a safe house, if you will, for the time being, with the hopes that we can influence them to change their ways while they're here. That's the whole thing behind it. We want to help people. It's not about the money.
But submitting to discipline.
Pastor David Chestnut operates Open Door Ministry using private donations. In northern Sampson County, Comwell Health offers addiction recovery services. It receives government funding, is not a faith-based organization, and its Harvest House facility is part of a public health campus.
In fact, we want to create an environment and have an environment where an individual really isn't sure what discipline that they're in. They just know one thing, that they're going to get holistic care services that is patient-centered, that is about them.
We're in the community and we're touching and we're educating, we're providing the education, whether you're in the dental clinic or you're in the medical clinic, or whether you're at our other site has an OBGYN. If we're providing them the education, then it can't be I didn't know. It can't be, well, here are the things to look for, here are the things to do. If I'm running out of my prescription before it's supposed to be, if I'm needing it before I'm supposed to have to take it, if all of a sudden I'm willing to do some things I wouldn't have done before, if my family members are saying to me they think I have a problem, these are some things to look at and think.
Both Comwell Health and Open Door Ministry have limited beds to serve exclusively males who are past active drug withdrawal. There are no female-focused recovery centers in the county, and anyone who needs detox under a doctor's care must travel to find a drug treatment facility.
So pretty much if anybody's seeking treatment or seeking to go inpatient, they would have to go through either Cherry Hospital or get referred out. They would have to go through the ED, and then they would have to call hospitals that has those beds, and so it could be a waiting period.
So many guys are dying from opioid addiction. It's not crazy, and I know that's... How much have you been taking a day? But someone struggling with addiction, whether it's gambling, whether it's pornography, whether it's meth, whether it's alcohol, whether it's opioid, which is the biggest problem we're facing today, there has to be somewhere for someone to go for at least 28, 30 days to break the bondage, break that vicious cycle.
The Sampson County Sheriff's Team includes medical professionals who oversee normal health concerns of jailed inmates, but must increasingly deal with untreated mental illness and jailed addicts who have suddenly lost access to their opioids.
We can't send people for treatment that are here under bond unless someone stands their bond. So we just can't load one up and send them somewhere for counseling or therapy on any given day. It's just cost prohibited, plus the element of risk in having them out there. So it's real frustrating.
And usually we have a protocol with our opiate dependents that we put them on something for body aches and body pain, which is basically all we can do for them. One of the inmates once told me the best thing for withdrawal is to just let me go to bed, let me stay under my covers for about 4 or 5 days, and I'll be fine.
For many Sampson County residents, every day matters as they place addiction further and further into their past.
The reason we want to run and hide is because normally we think about the people we let down.
This is a Celebrate Recovery meeting held weekly at Clinton Community Church.
I try not to make it just about addiction, just about drugs or alcohol. I mean, just in general, when we talk about failure. When do you know you failed? And that's what I want y'all to think for a second, because we're going to move on. There's a person behind every struggle. That struggle isn't who you are. Who you are is just struggling with something. So we want to get to know you. We want to walk with you through this journey, because we believe every journey takes one step. And most of the time, that first step is just coming here and going, hey, I need help.
I just got off work painting all day long, painting. But I told my boss I'm leaving early because I want to go to church with the broken, where I belong. Man, Eddie, that man cares about his people. So this stuff right here, a lot of churches don't offer this. Like, come eat, and then we'll get into God. A lot of churches like, come on, get into God, and then go home.
Involving addiction, when you make a mistake, you have to answer to consequences. A lot of the times. Most of the time. You have to answer to consequences. That doesn't define you as a failure, though.
This drug epidemic is so horrible, taking the lives of our young people. So we've got to do whatever we can to help this generation with this problem.
If you have an open forum where you just hey, this is going on in my life, and somebody may be going through the same thing or been through the same thing, so therefore somebody can shed light on that situation for you, and just more or less have somebody you can rely on, in a sense.
And what he's saying is the beauty of Celebrate Recovery is not for people that's over it, it's people that's still going through it. So he might have a story that touch on somebody that's right now that's still going through pill addiction, but hey, they look at him like, he did it, how come I can't do it?
The more you talk about it, the more people you tell, the easier it gets, the easier it is to deal with it. If I'm having a tough day, I'll text Eddie or Caleb, and they'll say something, and it's gone.
A lesson can stay for as long as your mind can hold it, but if you're going through a struggle, that lesson might not be able to help you. But a text to someone going, I just need a word, I just need to tell somebody I'm struggling, that goes a lot further. So to build a family and a community is a whole lot more important than sharing, per se, a message at times.
So you pull out your phone, there's a text there, I'm having a bad day. Okay, what happens?
What's going on? It's simple as no judge. What's up, man? Do you need to talk? Do you need to go have lunch? It's just one of those things that you find out what the bad day means to them. For all I know, the bad day for them, instead of overreacting, thinking that they fell off the deep end, bad day might just mean they're thinking about doing something. So you play each scenario by ear and go, hey, you know what? You said you're having a bad day. What does that mean?
There doesn't seem to be one answer for combating Sampson County's opioid epidemic or helping people recover from addiction, but there is one strategy that is unifying law enforcement and the recovery community. It's distribution of a drug called naloxone. Naloxone reverses otherwise fatal opioid overdose.
We have to be alert for the person's reaction when they come out of it. A lot of times a person coming from a reversal will have a violent reaction. Take an example, you're completely unresponsive. You wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and all of a sudden you wake up and there's 5 people standing around you. The reaction that you would have to that, countered by the fact you've already been on drugs.
Some people, and it's political, I guess, feel that we're condoning the use of drugs. And while I understand that perspective and that thought, I don't agree, because this is a life we're talking about. And for the value of a Narcan and the officer's time to administer it, a life is worth more than that to me.
We're in the arena of public safety. And if it means us saving an individual's life or saving my officer's life, we got to do it, all right? Some may say, well, why are you wasting your time, to bring a life back? Well, that life's important. It may not be personally important, to other people, but certainly it's important to that loved one.
That's because opioid addiction is affecting people who otherwise may never touch a recreational drug.
What's the difference in the approach and in the mindset from that person who's hooked on pills versus a person who might be hooked on heroin or fentanyl or some derivative?
What we've seen is the stage that they're at. Those that we've seen where it's at the pills, usually they're at the point where they have insurance, they have a job, they have finances to pay for it. They're not unaware. The ones that we've seen that have gotten to the point where they're now IV heroin users is they've lost the job that they once had. They've lost their family supports that once were there. Because they lost a job, they lost the health insurance to go to the doctor to afford the prescriptions. I don't have the job anymore because I lost it. So now I am on the streets doing whatever it is possible to feed this addiction. They're usually aware that I'm in addiction. The ones that come in are upset with their medical provider or their prescriber, they don't. And it's trying to get them to see what addiction looks like, not what you thought it was on TV.